Okay. Right. Now, again, questions to all candidates. Trying to pick up something on manifestos as well. We've not had many questions that are like bang on manifesto stuff.
Can you ask a general question
I'm just saying.
What? Rugby. Pete Williams.
Oh, I couldn't see, sorry. Pete Williams.
Sorry, I can't see the lights. This question is mainly for the presidential candidates, but if the vice has got anything to say on it, it'd be good. So the public funding for the college has been cut, and increasingly we're going to have to look for, well, the college is going to have to look for other streams of revenue, private streams of revenue to keep the place going. That takes the form of things like asking past alumni for donations. It's going to increasingly mean student facilities are going to have to be tendered out to outside parties. We've seen it 2 floors of halls now for outside students. It'll mean things like letting out lecture rooms for people to hold their conferences in, all this kind of thing. My question is, how do you see that negatively impacting student experience and the services that are available to students, and what can be done about it?
Okay, well, start with Pete. Band D subjects get more funding now than they did 5 years ago.
Okay.
Band D, by the way, is theology, philosophy and other such things, but they get more funding overall. They're just not getting more funding from the government, they're getting more funding from the students. They're still getting more money, doesn't mean we have to let more things out. The fact that we had to let out halls is because we had a shortfall based on the fee rise with a lot of people going into clearing with UCL and King's and other universities such as that. It's nothing to do, it's not a long-term problem.
Okay, we'll get Jazz's response first.
Well, I think if that is something that the college want to do, if they do want to raise more funds by letting out rooms, then it shouldn't negatively impact us too much as long as they're clear about it and we're informed when they're going to do that. Things like timetabling and having things up saying when rooms are being used and when they aren't is something that I'd make sure absolutely happens. At the moment, you walk into a room, you're not sure whether it's free or not. I really want to change that.
Would anyone like to follow up on the questions asked to the presidential candidates just then? Dan?
So are you saying that, say, Imperial asked for another floor of halls, would you campaign against that, or would you just let them?
What's that with Jazz?
If there are enough students to fill halls, then our students should be filling halls. As Pete said, it was that there weren't enough students who wanted to.
Well, there were. In fact, the number of Heythrop students at intercollegiate halls for this current academic year went up. So that shows that there were students going to intercollegiate that could have gone to Albert halls. And I know for a fact that I don't think they pay more, but the fact of the matter, well, I was an intercollegiate on my first year, and it was all right, it wasn't great. I would have preferred to be at Albert halls. If I joined this year, I went through clearing, I would have been sent to intercollegiate, and that would have been shit.
That's all we really need to tell them, Martha.
I prefer Jazz.
There are certainly students who prefer to be in intercollegiate halls to get more of an experience of different, meet people from other universities and on other courses as well. I do know people who've opted for that. But then there's also, if Imperial did want another floor and college were considering it, then I would say, no, wait, hang on, surely you should be prioritising our students' needs over a slight financial gain.
Okay.
Right, any more follow-up questions on that to the presidential candidates? No? Okay. Do any of the vice presidential candidates want to pick this up?
Do you want to go first? Okay, cool, right. I say in my manifesto, I'm committed to making sure that we as Heythrop students get the most out of our facilities. The building next to Alban Halls is becoming available, and I firmly believe that that should be for Heythrop students. This year, it's a weird year to gauge because of the Imperial students being there. It's just been a peculiar occurrence. If that were to continue and Heythrop students were being basically forced out for students of another university, I would campaign diligently against that, because we're here for you, we're your union executive, you're the union, you tell us what you want us to campaign for, and we will do that for you. With the rooms, the timetabling already occurs. It's kind of awkward to find out which office to go to, but that's really the only thing you need to clear up on that. With outside services coming in and going into our lecture halls, I actually don't have a problem with that, so it doesn't negatively affect our student experience. Like, if it's when we're not here, or it's when there are no lectures on there, I don't see why we shouldn't try and make it easier for us to put on better events and make the student experience better for you that way. But if it was affecting us negatively, then I'd campaign against that too.
Ash?
If it does turn out that a lot of students are being taken out of Alban halls and put into intercollegiate halls, I'm going to try and make a bigger effort to get them more involved in university life. My first year, I found that being in intercollegiate halls meant that I wasn't involved in uni. I'm going to change that one if it happens, but I will campaign against it.
Okay, any follow-ups from that? No?
Can I raise a point of clarification on this year's...
Please do.
What happened this year? Basically what happened this year is these students that people are talking about that were forced out of halls came into Heythrop through clearing in mid to late September. So Auburn halls at the point of mid to late September would have been 2 floors empty, which means Heythrop would have been down about, talking about £300,000 at the start of term. £300,000 is about 7 to 10 of your lecturer's wages. So, you know, they either had to make a choice between housing Heythrop students or teaching your lectures. The students were put into collegiate halls, that is right there, they were. Students were contact was made to students to see whether or not they would like to be in Auburn halls. I'm aware some students didn't see that contact, but the contact was made.
Can I know it's not against Doolin, but
Yeah.
can I answer that?
Okay.
But I know Nori, you applied to go in Auburn halls for this year, didn't you?
Correct.
And she was turned away. And then this was way before, like...
Yeah, this was on the original entry, but they didn't contact me again.
Yeah, so she'd
Even
showed...
though I had applied.
Yeah, she'd showed interest, and they made no attempt to recontact her.
As interesting as important as this is for this year's union, we are trying to get like questions for, if you could frame this sort of stuff as questions we can give to these guys. Sorry, I can't see people's hands.
There'll be a chance to grill me in a few
there will be a chance to grill poor Dylan in a minute. Rory, he's waving.
Right, so I've got a question with, more specifically directed at Sam, because you mentioned it. So you talked about the building next to halls.
Yeah.
Did it become available? So I just want to know, how has it become available and what building do you mean exactly?
Okay, I've forgotten its name. It is the building basically adjoining halls. That's
The infirmary?
Yeah. Okay, but what exactly is your argument against using that for our students then? The fact is
how you wanted to use it.
Okay, I personally can't just say this is what we're using it for. As a union vice president, it would be stupid of me to claim that I could do that. But if the room is, well, not the room, the space is becoming available. So if students come to me and say, you know what, we would like more rooms in halls. If it can be done, and I can facilitate colleges making that into some more rooms, that is what I would do. I'd consult the students with it first. I wouldn't just say, oh, I'll tell you what, we'll just build a swimming pool or something there. Because what's the point? I'd find out what you want me to do. Is your objection that it's an infirmary and so it's a bit weird, or is it just... Okay.
I just wanted to know how you saw it going and...
the sensible thing would see...
I think part of your question was asking why it's become available.
Yeah, and that.
Guys,
it's not the most serious of answers, but it does kind of get straight to the nub of the matter. There's not too much I can add to that, really.
They're moving house.
They're moving house is the answer. Okay, do any of the other candidates want to pick up on what was said then? No? Okay. Would you like to?
Oh, just as Sam said, you know, if we would use it in whatever way the students said was the thing they needed most. If we have a say, then obviously we'll use it to do whatever the most people would benefit from.
Okay.
The only thing I'd say to that is I don't think it's if we have a say. It's we do. We're the students. We do have a say in what this should be used for.
Okay. Chloe.
Yeah, there's currently no funding, bursaries or scholarships for international students in Heythrop. Are you able to do anything about that? And if so, would you be willing to put that forward in meetings, or is that a non-issue?
I would... do you want to...
Okay, we'll start with you.
Okay. I think that's a really important issue. I would go as far as I can with governing body in such meetings to bring that issue to them and present it. And if you could present a cogent argument of why they should be providing that, then I think, you know, you're one of them. We have foreign students. We should also try and cater for them and hopefully succeed.
I think what we need to do, like Sam says, bring it forward to meetings, let them know that there is something that we want, and then try and campaign for it to actually happen.
Yeah, as they've both said, I mean, obviously Heythrop does give out bursaries, and if there's no reason that we can see why they give them to some students and not others, just based on that, then yes, we should definitely address that.
Heythrop loves international students. They give us a lot of our money. Certainly the academic excellence bursary should be extended to international students, and as a government of the college, I mean, that's the sort of people we want to attract. And we get twice as many Erasmus students coming in than go out. it's that's not international, it's yours. But we want to promote our international image and extending academic excellence to students from all over the globe. It just makes sense.
Okay. Any more questions on this issue? Or okay, questions on other things? John.
I want to grill Peter because he said that he wanted to be grilled.
Medium rare, please.
Grill more.
And Zinger immediately. It's just on a broad sort of campaign issue, really. You ran as a package to begin with. Was that a kind of savvy sort of strategy to run with one of the VP candidates? You seem to have stepped back from that, and is there a reason for that?
You both have a lot of sass.
Well, no, I covered this a lot on the line interview, so if some of you have seen that, then I go into details there. But originally, I ran with Ash, because at the time, Ash was the only candidate, and I was worried that a lot of people wrong you anyway if you're the only candidate, especially in the sabbatical thing. And Ash is an excellent candidate, as is Sam, and I would hate to see that somebody would be judged based on the fact that they're running alone. Running alone does not make you a worse candidate. And I'm still running with Ash. I enjoyed very much working with her on the Faith and Sexuality Partnership. I've enjoyed working with her on the currency business to create the Larkin Eye Festival. And so I don't see what
It was a rather premature decision of you, wasn't it, to say nobody's told me of anybody else running for VP, so I'll make the decision to
well, I mean,
the only one that I'm aware of.
I was in the pub with Sam like the night before the election. When he in tobacco runners meeting, and he said when he put forward the fact that he was going to run. Before that, you were indecisive as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Am I really concerned? Do you know what I mean? I can say why I ran late, and that's because I wanted a good manifesto. I didn't want to come out and go, hey, look at me.
I don't think that you're the only person that could have come in at the last minute as VP, and that's why I think that it was a premature decision of yours, because there could be...
So you've got to make a premature decision sometimes. Sometimes you've got to set out things that are going to work regardless of what's going to happen. You need to lay these plans. You can't immediately wait till the last moment and then say, oh, we're doing this. I mean, we're very busy people. I mean, I had 5 essays due in 2 weeks. I'm running the society, getting involved in the festival and everything. Sometimes you have to sort of take, almost Kierkegaardian leap of faith and say, I'm just going to go for it. And I don't regret it. And I'm happy with either candidate win.
I think it'd be good to get Ash's opinion.
One of the reasons that I ran with Peter, I'm still running with Peter, is because I've worked with him before and I quite enjoyed working with him. Thought it'd be really good on the union together, on the exec together, which is why I'm running with him. But yeah.
Okay. Any follow-ups on that?
I'm interested if the other candidates outside of the partnership would want to give their thoughts on it.
How do you feel about the partnership, non-partnered candidates?
I mean, I basically I don't see a need to run as a team with anyone, because I think I would work really well with Sam, I would work really well with Ash. I think both of them would bring different things to the role, but they would both be really good as VP, and so I didn't want to say, oh, I picked this one over the other. I wouldn't.
It wasn't that I picked.
No, I know. I didn't mean that. I just meant, even if we had known everyone who was running, I still probably would have run alone, just to sort of highlight the fact that, yeah.
Sam, would you like to pick up on that?
Yeah, I think it kind of actually goes back to an earlier point Jasmine, because actually, we all offer kind of similar things. I don't think we do, actually. The thing I'm running on here, if you read my manifesto, is just my own experience. I personally will work well with either Peter or Jazz, because they're both, whatever you want to say about them, clearly people of sense that want to do the job. And so diligence was what I was aiming for. That's why I announced I was going to run late, because I wanted to make sure my manifesto held up, there weren't gaping holes in it, things I could say that I achieved. People running in as a slate, which is it doesn't concern me. I'm not in it, it doesn't bother me. I'll run my own campaign and just see where that gets me.
Okay, there were some hands up before. We'll have Nori first.
I have a question for Ash. In your manifesto, you talk about the possibility of putting a diversity officer on the HSU. Do you feel, or why do you not feel, that this is needed? Do you feel that this is needed, and why do you not feel it's covered by other positions on the exec? And I'd be interested to hear Sam's
People have voiced to me that they would like an LGBT officer or a women's officer or a black officer on the union. I thought it'd be nicer and better to have just one diversity officer that could then help with welfare and help with campaigning and stuff. Just sort of.
And why is that not covered by campaigns or welfare currently?
I would say it wasn't covered specifically. I'd just say that it'd be quite nice to have an extra person on the team as well to help with those issues, because it is quite a big kind of role.
One thing I think we've sort of shown today is that we don't have enough people running for the union as it is. And the idea of putting in another officer actually worries me greatly, because you then end up with a potentially devalued position. It's a really important position within any union, but I think our student body is diverse enough and small enough and kind of integrated enough. It could, like, I'd give it a solid 6 out of 10. It could do a lot better, but we're not worse. I actually think the way our societies interact at the moment is it's looking like it's going to get better as well, with the feminist collective and stuff coming together. I think diversity officer potentially, it's not something I'm going to be against. If everybody said, hey, well actually we do want a diversity officer, then yeah, why not? But at present, I think we do a pretty good job with diversity, and the union itself has reflected diversity reasonably well. Again, I'd probably give it like 5 out of 10. We've had 18 female officers in the last 4 years, which isn't by far the worst in London. The places could do better, but I don't think a diversity officer is needed right now.
Would you like to pick up from anything Sam has said? Sure. Okay. Alright, can we have some more fresh questions from people who haven't spoken yet? Sorry. At the right back, I can't see who it is. I'm blind.
Stephen Bonner.
Stephen Bonner. Hello, Stephen Bonner. Sorry. The bright lights.
It's mentioned in the Heythrop manifestos that you're looking to work closer with the bodies at ULU and Poland and Heythrop, etc. I just wonder if all the candidates could give an example of their experience with ULU and other London universities and how that will contribute to the student experience at Heythrop.
So that was experience in ULU, yeah. Experience in ULU and the University of London and that sort of thing, yeah. Okay.
I was working with them on LGBT events, charities with unions, bringing smaller colleges together. So I have had meetings with them. I found that they may not have the funding as yet, so they're not too on it, which is why I kind of stepped back a bit. But maybe in the future I'd like to work with them closer to do bigger events that we can actually be involved in.
We'll sort of mix it up.
Yeah,
it's just going in the corner a bit. We'll have people.
I mean, obviously, you're at the national conference. I'm very keen to work with lots of other people. I was on the small specialist London universities group, along with which Ashley here set up, and I've discussed with quite a few people about that. I've been to the LSE Christmas party, which was great fun, for their philosophy conference. There's lots of stuff we can get out of working together, and I think largely it's a marketing thing. We need to make sure we're aware of what they're doing, they're aware of what we're doing, and that's across the whole people. We need to make everyone more aware. But I'm very keen, as an example of what I've done, obviously, national conference.
Okay, we'll have Jazz next.
I don't have any, is the short answer. I don't have any experience yet, but I pick things up quickly. I get on with people very well. I tend to make a good impression, I think. And I'd really like to do that. I would be very enthusiastic.
Great. I can proudly say that I have sat through a couple of tedious ULU Senate meetings. I'm well acquainted with other people on the Small and Specialist Network, and I've also been to an NUS conference, the national conference. I think I'm the only person here that can say that represented Heythrop at a national NUS conference. So, in terms of getting things done with ULU straight away, I already know how to go about doing it. I've been there and observed. I know how it works, so I can just crack on straight away.
Okay. Right, we'll go some more questions then. Andy.
Okay, for Sam, you posted a statement on Facebook, might have been today, might have been yesterday, with regard to diversity at Heythrop. It's something that was kind of alluded to in the previous question, but could you kind of expand on that a bit more? I haven't seen if you've posted, that was kind of, what you posted was kind of, I will release it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, you're quite right. I said I would post a comment regarding, well, just basically post a statement concerning diversity, and I have yet to do that because I've just had loads of essay deadlines today. But basically, my thing with diversity is that I want to, like, pretty much everyone at Heythrop I said will be pro-diversity. And I think that I plan in my manifesto to have VP meetings, monthly VP meetings. And some people will say, oh, they already have societies meetings. I think bringing diversity in to that would be a really, really easy way of raising the issues of diversity. If you can bring people together at a meeting, sort of similar to this, people just come and sit down, like, just get a group of people in society's heads, for instance, show the broadest spectrum, I think, of the people we have at Heythrop. I don't, you know, it's kind of easy to say, oh, he's straight white male, what does he know about diversity? But I think encouraging and fostering diversity in Heythrop is really, really easy. And it's just by bringing people together. And it's easy to do. And working with events teams and publicity officers, you could do it really, really easily.
Right, we'll cover that because we've had conversations about diversity already in this question time. We've had a lot of questions for the vice presidential candidates, so let's just have some questions now for the presidential candidates. So, Dan, your trip?
Great. Pete, this is just a question for him. You said in your manifesto about extending library hours. I've taught you this on Facebook, but you didn't really give the best response. You claimed that you basically claimed that you were responsible for extending library hours. As far as I'm aware, it was a motion proposed by myself, backed by Rory Phillips, and defended at Library Committee by myself. So how do you see, and I talked to Doolan about this, and he said that actually in the committee meeting you said very little, if you don't mind me saying that, Doolan. So what did you do?
Well, first of all, I make the meeting call, but I mean, that's a pretty poor claim. But in my manifesto, I say, where in partnership with the HSU and college, I have helped we've got the library hours extended. Yes, you and Rory are an important part of that, but it's a committee. It needs, you know, it's one of the things, I mean, you two are the ones who clearly proposed this motion, passed it to OGM and everything, but it's one of the things that I was already working on. That I was at the Michaelmas term where you got turned away because you hadn't contacted, because Chris Pedley, which he's not allowed to turn people away, he's not the chair, it's Anthony Feisty there, turned you away for some very spurious reason. The thing is, most of the things that are done on academic affairs happen on a committee, and a committee is made up of lots and lots and lots of people. And if none of us could take credit for anything we've done in the committee, none of us could take credit for anything.
Can I follow up to that?
Yes.
So you just said there that you've been pursuing extending library hours. I just see this as another example of where you, as Peter O'Neill, the individual, is pursuing things for the college without consulting anyone. Another example of this is library fines that we talked about in my interview. Now, what I'm most worried about is that we're hearing a lot about yourself, but nothing about the way that you're going to work with people. You've clearly got a strong personality, you are very much the individual Peter O'Neill, but it's starting to worry me that you're going to start pursuing things that are important to you, but not consulting the college at all. I just want you to comment upon that.
That's a very good point. I mean, I've obviously had to take a few sort of leaps of faith with regards to things like the library fines issue. I mean, if I had waited for an OGM, then there would be no change at all this year, because we haven't had an OGM since after the early December one, and then we would have finished the Lent term library committee, so nothing on the library committee would have got done. Now, this is the whole point of representative democracy. You're getting people who will represent you. Now, I have a team of 30 student reps who feed back to me, who give me the feedback from their courses, who tell me what they want. I talk to people and ask them what they want. I've got these networks already. I've used them to help me pass information onto the correct boards, as, you know, co-chair of undergraduate student and staff liaison and everything. That's a lot of stuff that you do have to sometimes make these moves without consulting an entire OGM. It's not a direct democracy, and some of these issues we just have to go with them.
Is there anything you want to pick up on now, Jazz? Or?
Just that I don't think that waiting for the next OGM is the only way to get the students' views on issues like that. I think there can be smaller, more informal or more sort of online-based ways of getting student feedback.
On that note, I did lead a series of workshops with Sean Ryan and an online feedback survey, which we successfully got enough students to that we were able to present it to the correct board and guarantee that academic feedback online contained both the mark and comments and the thing being filled out and the tutorial, rather than before it was just the mark. So I have done workshops with people, I have done online surveys, I've done all of the things that you suggest in your manifesto to gain people's support. I'm just not going to bother them with every nitty-gritty detail of what has to happen. I mean, it's infeasible. I mean, especially as an officer who's meant to be working 2 hours a week. I mean, I don't have time for that as academic affairs. As president, I will be full-time. I will be able to implement more of these workshops and online surveys and integrate with Facebook, etc.
Okay, do you want to continue with that question? Okay.
It's almost related to what you just said just then. You made a pledge for the pool table, incidentally, that if you didn't get it done, then by the time you entered office or whatever, you would resign. And I wonder if this pledge extends to, you've made a lot of promises in your manifesto. Does this apply to all of those promises? Will you fulfill every single promise on your manifesto? Because you've made a lot of promises. Are you going to do them all? And if you don't, are you going to resign?
Well, I mean, it's sort of, a lot of these are going to take quite a lot of time. I mean, I say in here that I'm going to refill the pool table within 3 days of taking office, or get another pool table, or sort this fucking pool table out. It will be sorted out within 3 days of taking office. That's a bit of a cheeky pledge, because obviously I still have 3 months until I take office if I'm elected. So, I mean, it sounds better than it is. But, yeah, I will do everything that I promised in my manifesto, and I will be held to account at OGM, and I will have this video played back to me, and I will be voted no confidence by the union, the student body, when I fail to fulfil what I promised in my manifesto.
Is there anything you want to pick up on that?
Just if there's anything that can't be done, I would be completely open and transparent about exactly why it couldn't be done. I want the students to know, you know, what we can do, what we can't do, and what the things are that are in the way of doing the things that we know would help you.
Okay, sure.
One of the things is that some of the points you put on our manifesto is going to take a lot of time for us to do. So if we don't get them completely done, we will have the motions in place for them to be done the following year. So we might not get them done straight away now. We've been promised to do that most of the time anyway. We can get boring.
Yeah, I don't buy into this. This is our manifesto. You're holding us to account, not next year.
Yeah.
Once we make these pledges, we have to come through on them. Obviously, some things are going to take time, but you set yourself a time limit, which is 13 months to fulfil them. Don't promise things you can't. That's all I can say.
Really quick,
very quick.
Am I correct in thinking that a SAB can only run for 1 year?
No, you can rerun for the same position, and you can rerun for another position. You're bound for 2 years.
Right.
So yeah, if you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.